And just like that, the Carolina Hurricanes season is over with a loss in Game 6 to the New York Rangers.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. I also write at the Calder Times, which covers almost everything AHL. I'm also the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all of my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. This episode is going to be an episode I didn't think I'd be doing for a while, hopefully. But unfortunately, the Carolina Hurricanes have officially been eliminated. And this episode for Friday is going to go over my reaction from Game 6 in that 5-3 loss to the New York Rangers. Also going to talk about Canes player of the game because, yes, despite them losing, I'm still going to do what I've been doing the whole series and giving you a Canes player of the game who I thought stood out despite them, like I said, getting eliminated. And also going to go over what's next for Locked On Hurricanes as we are going to be transitioning into off-season content, even though with the playoffs still going on for the next few weeks and all that good stuff. But before we actually get started with the episode, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So, like I said, we are going to go over my reaction to Game 6, with the Hurricanes officially being eliminated in the second round to the President's Trophy winning, Metro Division winning New York Rangers. And first off, big shout out to John Chick of Locked On New York Rangers. GG's to him and his boys. They got the win into the series. Now they're on to the Eastern Conference Final, who they're going to be waiting for the Florida Panthers or in the Boston Bruins as they get to set to play Game 6 with the Panthers up on the Bruins 3-2 in that series. So either we'll know after Game 6 or wait one more game to see who the Rangers get in the Eastern Conference Final. And, of course, with the West, still waiting for those series to get done as, right now, Game 6 is for both series and all that stuff. But in terms of Game 6 for the Carolina Hurricanes, starting out, up 1-0 after a goal for Martin Necas, his fourth of the playoffs. Just great pass by Jordan Martinook to get him that goal. And then, of course, 2 goals in the second period. Another power play goal. Second power play goal of the entire series from Seth Jarvis, which was his 5th of the playoffs, so good for him. And then Vinny Trocheck, just under a minute later, scores for the Rangers. And then Sebastian Aho scores his 4th of the playoffs to give the Hurricanes their 3-1 lead. Andrei Svechnikov did get 2 assists in this game. Jacob Slavin and Sebastian Aho got assists along with Jordan Martinook and Dmitry Orlov. And then in the 4th period, unfortunately, we all know what happened. The Hurricanes were up 3-1. Very early on, you thought they were going to get another one because at some, I think it was the first 8 to 9 minutes of that period, it was 3 or 4 shots that went off the post. Another inch over, and you're looking at a possible 4th and 5th, or maybe even, one of those things where you could have been up 4-1, 5-1 at some point. But unfortunately, I even said this on X, that those post shots basically came back and been the boogeyman for the Hurricanes, because we don't know how the game ended. Just one of those goals goes in. Who knows how the game would be, but unfortunately, a lot of things happened and didn't go the Hurricanes' way. And just gotta give credit to the Rangers. Just being down, didn't quit, and unfortunately got the 4 goals that they needed to get the lead. More so got the 3 goals they needed to get the lead, and then, of course, got the 4th with the icing on the cake for them. And like I said, now they get to go into the Eastern Conference Final. Chris Kreider, first ever playoff hat trick, and of course it had to be in Game 6 against the Hurricanes, and it was also a natural hat trick. for his 5th, 6th, which was on a power play, and 7th goals of the playoffs. And then Barclay Goodrow finishes it off to give them to seal the win. Frederick Anderson in this game, he in this one stopped 20 of 24 or 21 of 24 and got an 826 save percentage in this game. And, we'll talk about Frederick Anderson and all that stuff here as we go over this game. And for the most part, the Hurricanes kind of came out strong. Like I said, you're up 1-0 after 1. You're up 2-1 after 2. You kind of feel like going in the third period that if the Hurricanes just held on or even got a couple extra goals to kind of put it out of reach, 2-goal leads never safe in hockey, let alone 3 now, and even 4 is not safe. But like I said, you get a couple of those goals going in off instead of going on the post. We're talking about a different story here. And unfortunately, can't put the whole game on Frederick Anderson, but there are 2 goals that you wish you to get back, and unfortunately you can't. It's just the first 2 goals of the third period. Those ones don't go in. We're talking about a whole different game, but like I said, it just wasn't Freddie's game. It stinks. It really does. It's I'll give the Hurricanes a lot of credit, man. I said it after Game 3, the series wasn't over. Just got to take one game at a time, go 1-0, get that plus 1% better every day, and stuff they've been talking about. Even the guys have been saying it. Brady Shea said it, Jordan Martinook, Ryan Brind'amour, Sebastian Aho, just going into that next game 1-0. And they were doing it for the most part. They extended the series. A lot of people thought they were done after 3. They thought they were going to lose in Game 4, thought they were going to lose in Game 5, but Hurricanes won those 2 games and, made it a series, and we're 20 minutes away from hopefully, potentially sending this to Game 7 on Saturday, but just didn't really work out that way for them. 4 unanswered goals for the Rangers in the third and saw them win it. But like I said, you got to give the Hurricanes a lot of credit. They didn't roll over when the series was 3-0. They fought back. They battled, and just that last period in Game 6 just did not go their way. And now they're, eliminated, and now, get a day or two to, try to just cope and, just kind of think back on, Game 6 and just the whole series in general. And then you kind of start looking towards the offseason. There's a lot of things to go over too. And I know here at Locked On Hurricanes, I'm going to do definitely be going over a lot of questions, going over the what ifs and what's going to happen and stuff like that. But of course, we'll talk about that later on in the episode. But in terms of this game, 36 shots to 24 for the Hurricanes. They blocked more shots than the Rangers, 17-14. Dead even on the faceoffs, 31 for 31. The PK unit went 1 for 2. That Chris Kreider goal in the third, and then the power play 1 for 1. The Hurricanes had 1 power play and they cashed in on it thanks to Seth Jarvis. But it's one of those things where you get a Seth Jarvis goal, and it's a power play 1. That's what he did all season. Scored big power play goals for the Hurricanes, and you hate to see a power play goal wasted, and especially a Seth Jarvis goal too. But that's hockey, man. It's just there's nothing you can do about it. You'll one minute you're winning and playing good, and the next minute it's just a couple things don't go your way, and you're like I said, you're playing the President's Trophy winning Rangers. Swept the first round, won the first 3 games of the series. Like I said, won the division, won the President's Trophy. That's it's a tough thing when you got the first and second best teams essentially, for the most part, on paper, what everyone thought was going. It's just one of those things where not much you can do. It stinks to see for the Hurricanes and how they went out, and now you just gotta go over a lot of questions and stuff like that. Especially, like I said, that's gonna be a lot of offseason stuff we're gonna have to go over. But it's not the way you wanted to go out. You're up 3-1. Kind of like you're going to go to Game 7, and then next thing you know, you're out, and now it's what's next. So it's just like I said, gotta give credit to the Hurricanes. Fought back in the series, made it to Game 6, gave us a lot of hope. Gave us unfortunate they did lose, but a lot of more memories. A lot of special moments and special goals, and just seeing some performances and all and stuff like that. So it's just didn't go your way. Like I said, you played the Rangers, who won the President's Trophy and won the division. And like I said, that's gonna start going into the question of is the playoff format good? That how it is right now with divisions, and then try and get more of those, or do you go back to the old 1 through 8 system, and do you try to see if how that works out? I don't know. It's going to definitely spark some more debates on, is this a good thing where you're seeing really good teams getting bounced early instead of possibly conference final matchups, or just I don't know. It's be very, very interesting, that's for sure. But overall, can't lose a game like that. You're up 3-1. Got to close it out, and unfortunately the Hurricanes didn't. But like I said, I gotta give them a lot of credit. They fought hard. They didn't roll over. Made it to Game 6. Got it back home to the Hurricanes fans, so that they can at least enjoy their team one more time, and just go from there, I guess. So there is a Hurricanes player of the game, that I do think still deserves some praise, even though the Hurricanes did lose. I still think that there are some guys who deserve to get a nod and all that stuff. And we'll talk about that here in a second on a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. The one good thing I like about the Game Time app is the fact you get last-minute tickets, plus flash deals and zone deals, and the views that you get from your seat. With their last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy theater, and so much more. With their flash deals, you can save more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. And even with their zone deals, you can save even more when you choose a section and let the Game Time choose the seat for you. And in terms of their views, specifically, you can even get a panoramic view of your seat from the app before you buy, so you know where you're going to be sitting, and with all the sightlines and all that stuff to whatever event you're going to be at. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONAHL. It's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So at the end of segment 1, I was going to talk about there's going to be the Canes player of the game. And before we're going to do all that, we're going to go over some quick quotes that came out from the Hurricanes players and Rod Brind'amour after the Game 6 loss on Thursday night. So when asked about Rod Brind'amour on the tough third period, head coach Rod Brind'amour said that second goal was a tough one. It just can't happen. We know that. You can't give a team like that a goal, and I thought we gave them a couple. That's really not good. Then the momentum changed a little, and we took a penalty. Their top guys took over in the third once they got that one goal. You've got to give them credit. Their top guys stepped up when they needed to. And, yeah, Rod's completely right. I mean, you're up 3-1, and then Chris Kreider gets the first 2 goals of that period. You can't really let him have those 2, and unfortunately, he did. And he got his hat trick goal, and that's pretty much all she wrote at that point. It's just the guy basically just willed the Rangers into winning that game. It's just you can't give them those first 2 ones and taking a penalty, which in all retrospect, I think it was kind of a soft penalty from. And a lot of people, even some of the announcers were even saying too, that was the fact that it was like, it looked like more of a shove. It didn't even look like a cross check, but I mean, you could say that too. That was probably a makeup call for the fact that there was a missed delay of game puck over the glass penalty. So, I mean, yeah, that cross check was kind of a soft penalty, but also kind of probably saw that coming with the fact that they missed that delay of game penalty. So it's a wash, nothing you can do about that. Unfortunately, it is what it is. And even talking about that penalty against Jordan Stahl, where he cross-checked Mika Zibanejad, it's a tough time. It's a tough timing for a penalty. I would have loved to have been on the kill, but I was the idiot in the box. A big kill there probably would have changed the momentum for us. And yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate penalty, and it led to Chris Kreider's second goal of the period, and it's just one of those things where you really just can't do that. And it's an unfortunate situation that happened, and now you see where you fell short. You know, that power play goal and Kreider's second of the period, it was a backbreaker, one you didn't really need for them to tie it, and it's a tough break. It's a tough thing to be in for sure. I don't know. And even talking about that second goal, you know, of the first Chris Kreider goal, with, you know, from Frederick Anderson, you know, he said it was a mistake on his part, and he even said that definitely hurt. Obviously, you don't want to give them life. I thought I had it covered. Tough timing for that, and yeah, that was very tough timing for Frederick Anderson. The fact that his first, you know, the first Kreider goal, should have had it, didn't. You know, it's one of those things where you have to make the saves, and they thought he did, but I don't know. Nothing you can do about that at this point. It's just, it stinks. And that's where you're at right now in terms of, you got to see your mistakes. You got to learn from what happened, and then hopefully you get ready for next year and build on it. Of course, you know, during the offseason, we're going to be going over a lot of possible changes to the team, changes that probably will happen in the team and all that good stuff. I wouldn't say all that good stuff, but all that stuff is going to happen essentially. That stuff is going to happen where there's going to be a lot of questions this offseason for sure. And even talking to Sebastian Aho, you know, Sebastian Aho said after the game, yeah, it sucks. It's a special group. Hopefully we'll stay the same as possible, but that's I'm going to paraphrase this, bad part of this. I thought we had everything that we needed to get over the hump. Didn't really work out that way, unfortunately. And then, you know, Sebastian Aho went on and said, we had one goal in mind, go all the way and be the best team, and didn't get there, so not good enough. Yeah, it's just, you know, you get to the point where you can't go down 3-0 in the series. Like I said, they did make a comeback, but that's a tough hole to climb from. It looked like they had a chance to make it 7. Unfortunately, just came up short, and there's and now your season's over, and now it's just going to be a lot of, you know, looking back on what could have, should have, and would have been, and just go on from there and just see what happens in terms of the roster. Because, like I said, there's a lot of UFAs coming up, RFAs as well, guys that might possibly the Hurricanes might want to keep for RFAs, or they might just move on from them. So it's going to be a very, very interesting offseason. And just talking about, you know, the guys with the team, Rod Brind'amour was asked about, you know, some of the guys this might be their last time as Hurricanes. And Rod Brind'amour said, that's tough. It's a special group in there. This was a tough way to end a really good year. These guys played their butts off all year, but this is what you're going to remember. That's the hard part. It's a business. I love to roll us back with these guys, but who knows how that's all going to shake out. And he's right. I mean, it's, where do you go from here? Like, what's the team going to look like? It's just, it's a lot of questions in the air right now. There's a lot of guys who might not be back with the Hurricanes, and yeah, you would love to run back with some of the guys from the group. You might have some guys that are staying with the team this year that might go into 24-25, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a little bit of a changing of the guard. You know, maybe trying to shore up more of the top 6 somehow. Maybe get some more. I mean, depth scoring was the thing for the Hurricanes, but maybe there's some more they got to look at. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they also look at the defense too, because they have 4 guys actually, because you're talking about Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, Tony D'Angelo, and Jalen Chatfield are all UFAs right now. So it's a question of how that's going to shake out with them too. And then, you know, I mean, for the most part, goaltending's set for next season. You got Frederick Anderson in the last year of his 2-year deal. You got Pierre Kachakov in his second of his 4-year deal, and you got Spencer Martin signed next year. And unfortunately, Antti Raanta is a UFA as well. So it's going to be very interesting in terms of that aspect as well. And just talk about adding pieces. You know, Rod Brind'amour was asked from Ryan Henkel of the Hockey News, about adding the pieces they thought needed to get them over the hump, but just came up short. And Rod said, I don't know. We played the best team in the league. Looking back on these first 3 games we lost by a goal in overtime, there's a play there, there's a play here or there, and everything's different. We just didn't find it. Even tonight, another goal puts the game away. It's a different story. We had our opportunities. There were a couple of posts in there. I don't look at it like that. That's the way it's going to be written, but I don't look at it like that at all. And Rod's right. It's just, yeah, you got the pieces you thought you needed in Jake Gensel and Evgeny Kuznetsov, but it just didn't go that way. And there you go. It's just, like I said, early posts in the third period came back and just became a nightmare and a boogeyman for the Hurricanes, and this is where we're at. And then the last couple things from Jordan Stahl, talking about the upcoming offseason. He said, we've had such a great group here for so long. The way this business goes, obviously you can see the squeezing a little bit with the way the cap goes, but I think they'll do their best to keep as many of these guys as they can. I love all these guys. It's been fun growing up with this group. Coming up short right now hurts a lot, knowing there's going to be a few changes. It's kind of like the writing on the wall, and some of the guys know it, that you're going to be looking at it's going to be a change. There's going to be changes, and that's what you're going to be looking at. So it's like I said, it's a very tough break to be in, to where there's going to be changes. You know what it's going to look like at the end of the tunnel, but the nature of the business for the Hurricanes and just hockey in general. It sucks to see, a lot of the guys that you've kind of been, seeing with this team for a long time. Who knows what's going to happen to Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, and all of them. Like I said, that's, something that we're going to talk about all offseason, because, the re-sign stage and free agent doesn't start until July 1st. So we have a little over a month and a half until we can figure out what's next. And then we also got the draft too and all that. So there's a lot that, even though the season's over for the Hurricanes, there's going to be a lot of stuff to go over the next few weeks and over the next couple months. So that'll be very, very interesting. But we are finally getting to the Canes play of the game. I know there's a lot of quotes we need to go over, but I kind of felt like I would be remiss if I didn't bring those up for this episode, because I don't want to sit on these quotes until Monday's episode, because Monday I wanted to do a mailbag to let all you, the everydayers, Hurricanes fans, and all that stuff on social media, on X, be able to answer, ask some questions. Hopefully I can give them some answers and stuff like that. So I didn't really want to sit on these quotes over the weekend. I wanted to make sure we got these out for today's Friday episode. But in terms of player of the game, there's a few guys. Sebastian Aho did get 2 points. He got a goal and assist. Andres Svechnikov, got a quiet 2 assists. You'll love to see it from him. Orlov got an assist. Seth Jarvis got a huge power play goal. Jacob Slavin got an assist. Martin Nietzsche started off the scoring with a goal. Slavin and Martinook got an assist. I would say, honestly, Jordan Martinook gets Canes player of the game. Like I said, I know there was a huge goal from Seth Jarvis on the power play. Martin Nietzsche kicks off the whole thing. Sebastian Aho gets your 3rd goal of the game. Andre got 2 assists, but honestly, for me, he did get an assist. Finished with an even. Got a hit. No shots on goal for Martin, but he only played 12 minutes and 54 seconds. But honestly, that 12 minutes and 54 seconds was huge, because honestly, what everyone's thinking is probably the save of the playoffs. I would almost say the save of the year, for the fact that there was a chance that a puck got through Frederick Anderson's legs in the second period, and Jordan Martinook made an unbelievable save where he was already sliding on his stomach, and he just got was able to reach out with his stick and keep the puck out of the net. And at that time, you kept the game 3-1 for the Hurricanes. If that went in, it really could have been a whole different story, even with the 4 goals that the Rangers got in the third period. Who knows what would have happened if the Rangers scored on that goal? But at the time, you thought that was a huge moment. That was a momentum shift for the Hurricanes in the game, where he sprawled out and stole that save. But and then even like the Martin Nietzsche's goal, great board battle behind the Rangers net, was able to grab it, kind of see over his shoulder. You saw Marty there, and just kind of passing the puck backhanded and set Martin Nietzsche's for the first goal of the game. So great individual effort for the board battle. Was able to get the puck. Great pass to Martin Nietzsche to find him open to get the goal, and got the Hurricanes up 1-0 early. And then, like I said, that huge save from him to be able to stop that was very, very timely and just something that really worked out for the Hurricanes at the time. So, like I said, yeah, there's guys who got, multi-point games and stuff like that and, special teams goals, but you got to give it to Jordan Martinook for this one. I don't think there's any other guy that you can really give it to. I mean, Martin just came out flying as well, but for me, Jordan Martinook is my Canes player of the game. So let me know in the comments who you think your Canes player of the game is. I would like to see what everyone thinks. I know there's going to be some other options as well, possibly, but for me, it's definitely got to be Jordan Martinook. So that will wrap up the second segment. We got our Canes player of the game. And then for the last segment, just going to go over real quick on what's going to be next, what to expect from me here at Locked On Hurricanes when we start transitioning into off-season content. And we'll go over all that here in a second on a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to his third segment of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So, if you got into this part of the episode, we went over Game 6 reaction, talked about Canes player of the game with a lot of quotes from the post game from Game 6. We did a lot of quotes in the last segment, of course, with the Canes player of the game. And now, as I said, as we wrapped up that second segment, we're going to what's next for Locked On Hurricanes, what to expect from me as we kind of start transitioning into off-season type stuff. And that's what we're going to be doing here at Locked On Hurricanes. So Monday, it's going to be a mailbag Monday. It's been a little bit since we did a mailbag Monday, but I think with the fact that the playoffs are now officially over for the Hurricanes, I know I already got some questions that people want to ask, already that I already have kind of saved up for that mailbag. So we'll be doing a post here, tomorrow, just kind of get that going. And then over through the weekend, going to start collecting questions from everyone and hopefully, being able to answer them and see kind of what's next in terms of all that stuff and then just kind of start rolling into the off-season content from the Hurricanes. I know once we get the exit interviews, I'll definitely be on the lookout for all my articles over at the Hockey Writers where I'll be going over gonna try to break up exit interviews per player instead of just jumbling them all into one article. So there's gonna be multiple articles coming out on the Hockey Writer side of things from each individual player, just depending on what was said and anything else that is added on that front. But then also here on Locked On Hurricanes, you should expect me to go over those specifically and stuff like that. Going to try to break up into maybe one player per episode or try to do one player per, segment, just so that way we can kind of, give each guy their, give them their chance to what they said, and we can go over and discuss it and stuff like that. And then kind of when we get closer to the draft, start looking at, player profiles and stuff like that, probably talk to some, draft guys, just try and get an understanding of what the Hurricanes might be looking at in terms of what's next for the Hurricanes, in the 2024 NHL entry draft, and kind of seeing where the Hurricanes are picking and all that stuff, at least what rounds they're going to be picking in, and then kind of getting an understanding of where they're going to be drafting in terms of the first round in a draft. After then, of course, after the draft, we're going to go right into free agency and the re-sign phase and see where, who the Hurricanes are going to bring in terms of either free agents, or maybe they're going to try to keep the guys who are UFAs and RFAs and maybe keep them as Carolina Hurricanes a little bit longer. So while the season is over for the Hurricanes, there's going to be a lot of off-season content coming here on the Locked On Hurricanes side of things. So don't worry. there's going to be no breaks, in terms of outside of just the normal, Fridays and Saturday, nothing in terms of, you're still going to get your episodes 5 days a week, but where it's going to be not a lot of game stuff now. It's going to be mostly exit interviews over the next few, whenever those start coming out. Then when we start getting closer to the draft, we're going to start going into draft content and stuff like that. And then right into free agency, re-sign phases and all that. And once we get past that phase, start looking more into, how going to do some probably, player grades, how the Hurricanes did during the regular season of 23-24, try and give them some overall season grades and all that stuff. So a lot of content coming in. And a long-winded version of answering this question of what's next for Locked On Hurricanes, a lot of off-season content, exit interviews, regular season grades, draft stuff, free agency, re-sign phases, all that good stuff from here at Locked On Hurricanes. So hopefully, those will be good episodes. I hope you guys all enjoy those once those start coming out. And like I said, make sure to check out my writing at the Hockey Writers, where I'll be doing a lot of writing content over there as well, along with all the stuff over at the Surgecast. But that will wrap up this Friday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Thank you to the Everydayer, as always, like I say, to making this your first listen of the day 5 days a week. Hope everyone enjoyed the episode. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on X at OneTrueZach. You can follow the podcast at LO_Hurricanes. If you want to click the link tree in my bio, that's where I said you can find all my articles at the Hockey Writers. You can check out my AHL content over at the Calder Times. You can also where to listen and watch on YouTube of my other podcast, the Surgecast. And then you can also find where to listen to this podcast on all podcast platforms in that link as well. And if you leave a 5-star rating, I would greatly appreciate that because that will help grow this show. And if you leave a review on your 5-star rating, I might just rate it on the podcast. And for the YouTube side of things on this, if you are watching, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you don't miss your show, and then make sure to hit the thumbs up button to let me know if you like the episode or not, and that'll help grow this channel as well, because we are over 160 subscribers. We are on the road to 1,000, because once we get to 1,000, I might do something very special for you guys. So if you're on the YouTube side of things, I really appreciate all that stuff, and make sure to share with other Caniacs so hopefully they become everydayers just like you. But unfortunately, the season is over. It's not how you wanted to end. I know that's not how I wanted to end it. I was hoping not to do this episode for a while, but nature of the business. But I hope everyone enjoys their Friday. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And, we'll start getting some mailbag questions in starting today on Friday and going through the weekend and get that ready for Monday's show. We're going to do our first off-season mailbag Monday and all of that. But like I said, hope everyone enjoys their Friday. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.